So you want to figure out how to get 2 steps ahead of your covert narcissistic mom, mother-in-law, or mother figure. Well, you are in the right place. My name is Dr. Dylesia. I am a licensed therapist and a mother-daughter trauma recovery expert. And today I'm going to be talking to you about 10 tactics that covert narcissistic moms, mother-in-laws, and mother figures use in order to trap, control, and manipulate the people they're talking to. In this case, I mean you as the daughter. So in addition to doing that, we are going to be doing my complexion routine. I'm going to show you how I achieve the flawless skin that I do when I'm doing my makeup. I love mixing girly elements in my videos with also just education, because I realized from doing this work for such a long time and also being a member of this community, because I grew up with a mom who was more focused on hurting me than helping me, that a lot of us never learned how to take care of ourselves. We didn't learn how to love our bodies. We didn't learn how to be feminine in the ways that are expressive, like fashion and beauty and all those different things. So I really like to combine all that on my channel. So today you're going to get some information on how I do my makeup routine, the complexion part of it, and then also all these tactics that we need to learn. One of the benefits of learning the tactics that your narcissistic mom is using is that you can figure out when you're talking to her when it's something you actually need to respond to, which is probably never, but when it's something that you need to actually respond to, and when it's just her pulling a trick out of her bag and she's trying to get a reaction out of you. Without you being aware of that information, you are more likely to be susceptible to her antics, okay? So I'm going to teach you 10 tactics, but I have some homework for you. If you enjoy this video, you learn something, I want you to like, subscribe, share. But I also want you to let me know in the comment section below, Dr. Dylesia, we need a part 2. There are so many tactics, communication traps, all those things that narcissists use, and I want to make sure y'all are aware of them. But I also did not want this video to be crazy long. So let me know if you want a part 2, and I will share some more. Like I said, we're going to be doing my complexion routine, so you'll see me like looking down to get different products, to grab brushes and things like that. But let's go ahead and get started. There are a lot of steps in this routine. So what I'm going to do is probably do one routine step and then share one tactic. And we're just going to kind of go like that. If you have watched one of my videos in this narcissistic mom series, then you already know how this works, okay? You saw me do my pipe cleaner takedown when we were talking about the DSM, which is a statistical manual that therapists use in order to diagnose people with narcissism. So you walk with me through that, and you either learn that your mom is a narcissist, or you learn, maybe she doesn't meet the full criteria, but she certainly has some narcissistic tendencies. You might have watched my second video, which is when I was going through my skincare routine. And in that video, I talked to you about some signs that you can be looking for to basically determine whether or not your mom is a covert narcissist, which is different from being a overt or grandiose narcissist. If you have not watched those videos, what are you doing? Okay, click off of this, run over there, get those 2 videos, and then come back, okay? But like I was saying, if you watch those and you completely know how this works, you know how we mix all of the fancy feminine stuff with the education. And that's what we're going to do today. So like I said, I'm doing my complexion routine. The first thing I'm going to do is to do my bronzer, okay? So this here is Juvia's Place. It is a Black-owned brand, and I really, 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 really love it. This is not bronzer, y'all. This is cream contour, and so you wouldn't know this. You know this if you follow me on Instagram, which you should be doing as well. So follow me on Instagram, Dr. Dylesia. I just really learned how to do my makeup. I'm so good at it. Like, it's mind-blowing how good at it I am, because one of the reasons why I didn't do it was because I was like, it's too many steps. I get overwhelmed. I just don't have time. I wasn't made to do it, right? Like, I'm just going to pay $125 plus a tip and let somebody else do it. Then I started doing these YouTube videos, right? And I wanted to produce content for you all on a weekly basis. And I'm like, sis, the pockets are not pocketing, okay? So you need to figure out how to do this makeup yourself. So I went and I learned about, it was probably only 3 months ago. So I am still learning. I still do rely on my notes, which I have some notes right here. that have all the steps outlined. So you will see me looking at them, and I try not to look at them that time. So this is not bronzer, y'all. This is cream contour. But you know what? I'm learning. We're learning together. But once I get done, you're going to be like, she's still learning. And that's what I want to be able to inspire you that you can learn too. So we're going to use this cream contour by Juvia's Place. One of the things I love, I went and got a tutorial from Sephora. And basically, what I love is that it took me straight to the great products, right? So even with my foundation, you'll see I use a high-end foundation. I didn't have to go through the let's figure stuff out and determine like what I like best. They just color matched me. They figured it all out for me, and I was able to buy everything on the spot. Now, I didn't necessarily buy it off from Sephora. I went over to Ulta because my assistant was like, girl, we can get some stuff from cheaper over here. But either way, I left with a full list of absolutely everything I needed. And my assistant helped me write down all the steps. And then from there, I just kind of look at my notes and I go every time I need to do my makeup. So if y'all are interested in a tutorial, make sure you go to Sephora. They're going to color match you and everything, and it'll be just a seamless process. But nonetheless, I'm going to use this cream contour, and I'm going to use my angled brush. Something that is confusing for me, or was confusing, probably still is confusing if I didn't have these notes, is all the brushes. I used to just look at the brush kits and be like, y'all, that's too much. Why is it 7 brushes? Why can't we just have one? I don't understand. But I am learning how to do it, and the Sephora professional will be able to help you too. Or you can just follow along really intently to this video. Have 2 columns, one where you are writing down your notes from mother-daughter trauma stuff, and then one where you're writing down your notes from the makeup, okay? So nonetheless, I'm just going to swirl this around a little bit and get some up there. And I'm also going to just kind of brush some excess product off onto my hand. You want to make sure that you're ready for your hand to get dirty, okay? What I always have, and I have 2 children, so there's an endless supply of these, are some baby wipes, okay? So I just have some baby wipes right beside me so that if my hand gets a little too junky and I need to, use it to add more product, I can just wipe that bad boy off real quick and then keep going with it. So nonetheless, I'm taking this and I am just kind of doing a 3 along my face, okay? So my first one is going to be a 1 here. I'm going to do 1 here. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And then I'm going to pick up some more product, which is another reason you put it on your hand. And I'm going to go along the chin. Okay, and I want to make sure that these are even, right? So you can see on this side, this one is a little bit darker. I'm kind of like not only brushing some out, but trying to pick up some product and shift it. And I'm looking at y'all and not in the mirror, so I'm like, girl, I hope I look cute. But yes, I'm just making sure there are no harsh lines. That's what I'm doing right now. And then that's kind of it. Okay, so we got that on. Now let's talk about our first tactic. So first tactic is going to be emotional appeals. So with emotional appeals, and this is caramel if anybody wants to know, if you have a similar complexion to me. But with emotional appeals, that manipulation tactic, a narcissist is essentially going to use their emotion in order to get reactions out of you, to get you to do what they want. They really want to appeal using their emotions, right? So they don't have anything else that they are able to utilize because, as I told y'all on another video, narcissists are generally pretty empty inside. So they got to grab what they can. And that means that they're going to pretend like, oh, I'm so sad, or oh my God, this is the worst thing in the world, so that they can get some sort of hedgeway in making sure they get what they want, right? So that's the first tactic. They're using their emotions. They're going to use these outlandish displays that honestly scare people into action. And that action is going to be geared toward what they want to happen, okay? Very simple, right? So if your mom does this, you probably only see her use emotion when she is trying to control people. So now we're going to do our concealer. I'm using the Maybelline New York Instant Age Rewind Eraser. And basically you just have to twist it, and then some concealer comes on this little applicator. And what I do is I put 3 dots under my eyes, under each eye, and I want to make sure those dots are even. I put one in the middle of my forehead. I put one in this area, whatever that's called. Because y'all, my husband's a doctor, a physician, like a medical doctor. So he could tell you what the face parts are. I am not that kind of doctor, okay? I know about the mind and psychological concepts. So I don't know what this area is called, but that's where the dot go. So now we're gonna take this brush, which is, what is this brush called, y'all? Like a small face brush. We're gonna use this brush, and the brushes that I'm using are actually by Morphe. So they worked for me for the past couple months. I don't have any complaints about them. So, I mean, like I said, I'm new to this. These products I can swear by, right? I might try different brushes once these are old. So, but I think this is a good one. It was affordable and it gets the job done. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna just dab. Y'all see me looking in the mirror because I'm trying to make sure I'm doing this right. My camera is not, I can't see as good as I can in my mirror. But anyway, so I'm just dabbing, and just blending that in, right? And you'll instantly see brightness under my eye, okay? So I'm doing that, and I'm gonna go into my other side, do the same thing. And get that right under that waterline. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the same in the middle. Just dab until it's blended. And if you have the right products, which is why I do recommend going to Sephora to be color matched, it's literally gonna blend so effortlessly. And you do need a different foundation when it's cold outside versus when it's not, but everything else should remain the same. So yeah, you just do that. One thing I will say, I don't necessarily like how in disarray this brush look, but I don't know if that's just any brush, because I mean, we are pretty hard on them, slamming them onto our face and stuff. So anyway, that's that. Got that part done. So second one, which you've probably heard of, is love bombing. With love bombing, your narcissistic mom, mother-in-law, or mother figure is literally just bombarding you with all this affection, all this attention, all these compliments. And a lot of times I've heard from so many women that I work with over the years that this happens when they're sick, like their moms or sick or in some kind of like distress that the mom can kind of pounce in and help them with. So I've heard it from people who are going through divorce, going through chronic illness flare-ups, just experiencing like a traditional sickness where they got to take off work, but mom comes running and she's usually never, ever, ever there. Those kinds of things. So basically, when they know that they have an end, they're able to bombard you with love. And then that means that you are more likely to include them in the remainder of your life. Like once that situation is no longer something you're battling with, they still have you trapped already. So even though that entrapment is probably not going to last long because it's going to dawn on you, I need to stop talking to them this much or at all, they still are going to have you where they want you for a little bit of time. So love bombing is the second technique. Let me know below. Does your mom use emotional appeals? Does she love bomb? Are either of these resonating with you? Okay, so now we're going to do our foundation. So Dior, y'all, baby, this stuff is so freaking good, okay? Now, granted, I don't have a comparison. But what I will say is I don't want one. Like, this thing be thinging, okay? I feel like I look amazing and flawless. And my assistant, she's really into makeup. And I guess you could say I kind of am now too. But she's like, girl, that you make me want to go buy it. So I'm just gonna take this. What is this brush called, y'all? Let's see. This is called, I don't know, but it looked like this. So use this brush. I am not over technicalizing this. Y'all know I don't do that anyway though. Even with like psychological stuff, I try to break it down into layman's terms because I cannot stand when somebody is talking over my head. And in reality, it makes me wonder, do you even know the information if you can't explain it to people in a way where they understand it? Like you're just using a bunch of words that no one knows what you're talking about. So I'm definitely not a jargon kind of gal. And we see that ring true with this makeup routine because I don't know none of the words, okay? But either way, I put a little dab of foundation on my hand. So y'all see my hand is getting junky, right? This is where the cream contour was. This is where my foundation is. But I put some on my hand and then I just move this brush around in it. I'm going to do that a couple times, make sure I don't have any excess product. And then I'm going to start from the middle of my face and go outward with just dabbing my foundation, okay? You do not need too much of this. Honestly, so like I said, I don't have a comparison when it comes to Dior versus anybody else, but I be feeling like, how did that little bit of amount work? But it be working, y'all. So just know that you don't need too much. You do not need too much. You do not have to be a cake face. Like, honestly, I'm going to end up getting all of the coverage that I need with just that little dab that I did, y'all. And I'm just literally putting it everywhere. You want to make sure when you're doing your makeup and you're applying products that you're applying it like with an upward angle, because the goal is for your face to lift. Obviously, that's obvious, right? People get Botox and all kinds of stuff just to get that facelift. But you don't want to be applying your products downward because then your face is going to have a downward effect. So there's what we're doing there. And I'm just going. And I might as well, since this is just going to be some repetitive motion here, might as well share another tactic with you, right? So the next tactic is going to be gaslighting. That's another one that y'all have probably heard of before. I will say a lot of these you probably haven't heard of because honestly, love bombing and gaslighting I think those are like pretty common. But the other 8 people don't talk about a whole lot. The word narcissism is extremely overused. Love bombing is overused. Y'all, people be like not understanding that someone is supposed to love you and they be saying that people love bombing them. And I'll be like, that is not love bombing you. So just make sure you use these words correctly, or don't tell nobody that I taught them to you, okay? Anyway, so next tactic, like I said, is going to be gaslighting. When it comes to gaslighting, again, this is a pretty common term. That doesn't mean you've ever heard it be explained in the way that I'm going to explain it. But basically, they are essentially manipulating the truth. They're rewriting history. I love to call it that because it helps you completely understand what they're doing. It's like, and don't forget y'all hear me talk real weird because I'm hitting on my throat. But don't forget your neck and your chin area. And you kind of got to put some in the hairline area too, just so that it all blends. But y'all see that? That is perfect. And I'm done. That did not require much at all. And you can see sis starting to get fancy, okay? Anyway, let me stop being crazy. I can't stop because I really am crazy. But anywho, gaslighting. They're rewriting history. They know that stuff didn't happen, but the way that it happened does not make them look good, and that's why they must rewrite history. So they are convincing you that what you know is reality is not actually reality. They're making you question yourself. And if you've ever talked to someone who is a narcissist and they've used this tactic against you, which this tactic is used so freaking often with narcissists, but if you've ever talked to them, you have those moments where you're like scratching your head, like, am I crazy? If you ever are asking yourself that, chances are you're being gaslit, okay? Because they know what happened. Again, like I said, it just doesn't make them look good. They don't have an explanation for it. It doesn't fit with the reputation that they've crafted for themselves. It's who they really are, but they can't afford to let other people know that. So what they have to do instead is to change history so that the order of events actually makes them look good, right? So that's exactly what gaslighting is. Very, very simple definition. If your mom, mother figure, or mother-in-law is a gaslighter, let me know in the comments below. Okay, so next we are going to do our blush. Blush, you don't want to use too much, okay? So here we have ELF, which stands for eyes, lips, and face. That's so cute, right? They sell this at Target, honestly. But this is their Camo Liquid Blush. And I don't need a whole lot of this because I'm not like a big blush girly. Even if you are, you probably don't need a whole lot. But I'm just going to kind of do that. And I see that I need it in this area, literally the smallest dot. Maybe a little bit in. Okay. Literally a dot, okay? This is probably the only brush I remember what it is. I don't know the name of it, but it's always red because it's the brush that I use for my blush, okay? So you're going to take that one and you're going to just tap it out, tap it out. And you see how red that is from just that small dot? That's why I told you you don't need a lot. If you recognize that this is too blushy for you, you can always go back to your brush that you use for your foundation and just blot it out. And it'll mix that with the brown. And I actually really like that. I often do this, to be honest with you, because I feel like I can't make the dot of blush that I use small enough. Like, it's always too much, okay? So I don't want to make sure those are even and then get it. Okay, that's kind of cute. Get it the way that you want it to be. Okay. All right. So the next tactic that your mom might be using, if she's a narcissist, is called hovering. Hoovering, y'all. Hoovering. I mean, honestly, so you pronounce it hoovering, but what I will say is it could still count as hovering when you look at the definition of hovering. But basically, hoovering is essentially not giving you any sort of space. So a lot of times when you argue with someone and they're a normal personality development kind of person, because we learned that narcissistic personality disorder is a personality disorder, right? So if this is a person who has a normal functioning personality, they're going to give you your space and they're not going to be afraid of you having space, and they are going to just let you have the time that you need to think reasonably, right? So a narcissist is not going to do that. They know if you get to thinking, you get to talking to other people, that's not going to be good for them, right? So you thinking is you probably thinking yourself out of the relationship with them and recognizing that you're being manipulated. You talking to other people could threaten the reputation that they built. So with hoovering, they are literally like they are on you, okay? It's like I can't get a break. I can't get any breathing room. They're not allowing me to think for myself. They are forcing themselves upon me. I've definitely had this happen with a narcissistic mother figure. And it's like, girl, just back up, okay? Leave me alone. Leave me alone, right? And another reason why they do this is so that they can report to other people that they did it. And those people can think, why is Dylesia upholding this argument for so long? Such and such, the mom, insert mom's name, right, has sent her flowers. She's been like, trying to talk to her and text her every day and send her Facebook messages and blah, blah, blah. And Dylesia is just being petty. That's what they want people to think. They want people to think, I am guiltless. I haven't done anything. I've done so little that I am chasing this person to communicate with them and they won't talk to me. So hoovering is pretty much exactly what it sounds. Again, another self-explanatory concept, but it's not one that we hear about often because people are going to love bomb and gaslit themselves to death, okay? But there are other things that the narcissistic mom is using. So our next thing we're going to do, this is super easy. This is called a powder puff. Amazon, can get a whole big, gosh, I have so many of these. But you're going to take this, slip it on your fingers, and you're going to start with your T-zone and just start pressing out the oily areas. So your T-zone is really common for getting creased, and you want to make sure as you're applying your makeup that you're not susceptible to creasing. So T-zone around your eyes, around your nose, around your mouth. That's what you're going to do. So that's real easy. And that will take us into our next one, which is defensive victimhood, y'all. So whenever you call a narcissistic mom out on her BS, she got to do something because she's not going to admit to it. We know that they do not hold themselves accountable. So what she's going to do instead is she's going to spin that thing as if she's the person who is, being hurt, being harmed. She's defending herself by maintaining her victim mentality, right? So she's using that as her shield, her weapon. That's honestly the thing that they utilize most often as a shield, as something to protect them, is their victimhood. So she's going to be playing victim. This might involve other people, which we'll get to that because there are other concepts that describe her involvement of other people into you all's arguments and issues. But she might involve other people. She might, even in talking to you, just kind of deny everything that she's done, but not outrightly say she hasn't done it. Just bring up a bunch of stuff that you did alternatively. My mom is not a narcissist. I've said this before. My mom had borderline personality disorder symptoms, and we'll do that. So I'm focusing on narcissism now because it's so common, and I want to, obviously provide some insight on that. But I'm actually going to go through all of the personality disorders. There are 10 of them. They're separated into clusters, and narcissism falls within cluster B. Okay, cluster B is the people who use exaggerated emotional states and things like that in order to control. And I'm going to do the rest of them though, right? So there's so many other ones. One of them is borderline personality disorder. And that one we're going to utilize to talk about like my mom and other people's moms who have black and white thinking. Oftentimes they're exaggerating their emotions. Well, honestly, they really do have those emotional states, to be honest. They're not very good at regulating their emotions, is what we'll say. So we'll talk a lot about that when I talk about borderline personality disorder. But that doesn't mean that some of the characteristics and the traits and tactics that they use are not similar. So I said all that to say that when it comes to someone who is a borderline personality disordered person, they might use victimhood a whole lot of times, like more times than not, they're probably using victimhood. And one of the ways that my mom did this, who is not, like I said, not a narcissistic personality disorder, she would, like, if I tried to say that she did something, she would be like, well, you haven't been a good daughter either. And it's like, okay, well, that's not what we're talking about. That is a pet peeve of mine, y'all. But, you have so many pet peeves in communication, and you have to make sure that you have control of them when you're talking to someone with a disordered personality, because those pet peeves will become land bombs. Like, those are those buttons that they know how to press in order to get you to be overly emotional and to honestly show people who are watching, or even just give them the proof to go tell other people that you're the problem. So you really want to make sure that those pet peeves are not like active bombs, and you don't have to do that by going to therapy, learning your triggers, becoming more self-aware. But she would say that, and that is a form of defensive victimhood. That is a very particular form of it that we're going to talk about here shortly, but that is a form of it. So anywho, back to my routine. What we're going to do now is we need some powder. So this is by Huda Beauty. It's really good too, and it's the peach pie kind. But anyway, what you do, just open it up. It has a top on it so that you don't lose your contents. And you're going to use the top to get some powder in there, okay? So I'm just shaking loose powder. That's what's called loose powder. I'm shaking that in there. Okay. Now I'm going to use my fluffy brush. I'm going to swirl that around. I want to tap so any excess is removed. And then I'm just going to use Oreons, which are essentially circles, and go all around my face, okay? And powder is really like giving you that matte finish so that you're not looking wet and oily. And oftentimes when you need to touch up your makeup, you hear women say like, I need to go powder my nose. That's what they mean. They're just adding powder. So when you're going out, you want to take, after you've done your makeup or had it done, you'll take a powder puff and you'll take your powder and literally you're able to apply some powder and press it out. And that's going to help you get the oil out as you're outside, because you shouldn't have to like do all your makeup over while you're out. So yeah, we did that. Just circling around and doing our Oreons, okay? And then now we're going to talk about the next thing, which is triangulation. So I told you, I alluded in defensive victimhood that we were going to talk about other ways that moms utilize other people in order to kind of create drama, stir up hostility, that kind of thing. So with triangulation, they're going to bring somebody else in. They might bring your child. I hear this all the time from moms, well, daughters who are also moms and whose moms are toxic, that they manipulated one of their children. Like maybe they have a teenage child that got angry with them or something. You know, teenagers have a lot of emotions. And I mean, we all do, but teenagers are figuring out how to regulate those emotions. And sometimes there are arguments that happen, conflict, very simple conflict that happens between them and their mom. The mother, the grandmother, will recognize that that's occurring and use that as an opportunity to build a wrath between the two, like pretty much to distance them. And that's a part of triangulation, like getting somebody else on their side. Let's pull this other person in. Let me tell them all this stuff. And then they're going to be on my side. And then you're just defenseless. Like you don't have any argument to stand on. And you also don't have the support of this individual. So that is what triangulation is, y'all. It's three people literally building a triangle so that y'all, they don't have to have direct one-on-one conversations with you. It actually helps them be able, I'm out of breath, y'all. It actually helps them be able to avoid accountability even more if there's a third party involved. So it's another escape tactic, basically. So yes, we did our Oreons, and then now we are going to use some powder bronzer. We finally at the bronzer, y'all. Finally at the bronzer. So the tactics that I use, I hate the word tactic because it really sounds bad since we're using it for the narcissistic moms. But what I use when I do my makeup is called underpainting. So pretty much you use like wet products first, and then you follow them up with your dry products. So now we're moving into that, and we have our powder bronzer. So our powder bronzer is literally the same as our cream contour, but it's just in powder form. So what you're going to do is use that same brush, the angled brush. You'll get some powder on that. Tap it off. Always tap for excess. And you're going to do the exact same thing, the three. It'll be a little harder to tell because you have other product on your face, whether or not you need to smooth out any harsh lines, but you can still figure it out with the proper lighting. So that's what you're doing there. That's pretty easy, right? And we're almost done, y'all. We have just a few more. This, if I'm not talking, I can finish this in like 25 minutes or so. What takes the longest is them eyelashes, okay? Eyelashes have a mind of their own. They do what they want to do. They like a narcissistic mama. I'm going to just start calling them narcissists. But no, eyelashes are, they can make or break how long the stuff is going to take. I will be doing another video where I'll be talking about strategies you can use when you're communicating and interacting with your narcissistic mom, mother-in-law, or mother figure. So that's basically taking all these things we talk about today and figuring out, okay, so Dylesia, when I'm in a ring with this person, how do I fight back? So that video I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to do my lashes, my eyebrows, and my lips. So you'll see me in this video once I finish doing this complexion routine. But we're almost done with that, and we just have a few more strategies to go over. So our next strategy is a smear campaign. Very similar to the triangulation, it just involves more people. So remember, with triangulation, we're having 3 people. So they're bringing in another party. It could be your dad, it could be your child, it could be whoever. But with the smear campaign, they just go on to whoever will listen. And they are spreading crap about you, okay? They're telling people just negative things about your character. They're telling them how horrible you treat them. Oh my God, I'm her mama and I did all of this stuff for her and I was in labor for 52 hours and okay? All the things they did and then how horribly you're treating them. This is when you will see your mom become the most feeble person ever, right? Like normally she'd be so assertive and aggressive and bout it and she just raw, right? This is when, oh my God, I'm just an old lady that's trying to love my child. That's when all this comes out. So she's doing a smear campaign. That terminology is very, like, we've heard that before. So I don't feel like I have to go into too much detail to tell you about what that is. But just know if your mom is spreading just rumors and gossip and lies to get other people on her side about you, that's what it's called, okay? It's a smear campaign. She is no different than any other narcissist. They use the same strategies. And sometimes knowing that can help you because it's so common with any mom. Like it can be someone who has narcissistic personality disorder, or it can be one who has borderline. It can be one who has histrionic personality disorder, paranoid personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder. It don't matter what the personality disorder is, y'all, because I told y'all there are 10. It can be any of those. We are so prone to take things personally. So it is very common to just think like, why is she treating me this way? It's not about you, sis, okay? She uses this stuff on everybody, first of all, and everybody who is like her uses this stuff on their everybody's. So you just have to remember that, and that's why I think raising awareness about these tactics is so important, because when you know it's a tactic, you'll know that it wasn't personal, right? Tactic is like, we just know this what she do, right? Personal is she has a problem with me and only me, and what's wrong with me starts to come up, all these self-worth questions, all those things. And we don't have time for that. Not with a narcissist who's never going to make you feel like you're worth anything anyway. So anyway, next thing, looking at my notes, is to do our eye crease, which I did not do. So with our, I don't do eyeshadow. Like I have not got to that point, and I don't know that I will. Like I'm not really kind of a simple makeup girly. I did do some eyeshadow recently because I had a TV opportunity. Your girl's on the Tizoob. Coming soon, more information. But I did a eyeshadow for that. I didn't do it. My makeup artist did it. But I don't do that on a regular basis. So what I do to just make sure there's not such a drastic contrast between the color of my eyelids and my skin is I'm going to swirl this small brush around in my bronzer, tap it, and then I'm literally just kind of painting my lid. You probably need some more. Tap again and paint your other lid, okay? Really, really, really easy. All right, so we got 3 more tactics to talk about, y'all. This one is, we're going to talk about bullying. Narcissists are bullies, for sure. It's really easy for a narcissist to be a bully when they are very intelligent. I was hesitating because I was figuring out how I want to word that. So there are narcissists who, they're always going to exaggerate their like knowledge base and how smart and important and all that stuff that they are. So it may be hard to determine if that's real or if that isn't. You would know because you're their daughter. So you know what type of schooling and education and that kind of thing, and if they're just trying to sound smart or they are smart. But it becomes easier for someone to bully you when they actually really do have the knowledge base behind it. So I have seen where a mother figure is a lawyer, and whoo, y'all, that one was dangerous. Okay. I've seen where that happened, and that person was like, I mean, just scaring their family into doing what they wanted them to do. People didn't even know, like, is this stuff that you're saying really true? It's just that the words were so big, the concepts were so lofty that it sounds like I need to leave this person alone and give them what they want. So you'll find that if a narcissist actually has like intelligence to utilize on their behalf, the bullying is going to be even worse and it's going to feel even more threatening. Whereas someone who doesn't have that to back themselves up is still going to bully you, but it might be fluffy, you know? It still will feel threatening, you know, but it'll probably feel fluffy. It also is really common if a narcissist is talking to someone who is in a impoverished situation. Maybe they're low income, they have like a low educational attainment or intelligence barrier that's stopping. Like they're really able to bully people who are below them in all the, you know, traditional senses that we consider people below people. So it's kind of like a classist sort of thing. Like if you are a narcissist who is also in a higher class for various attributes and factors than the person you are trying to bully, your bullying may be more effective because they don't know that it's BS. So I want you to know that, because I see a lot of times where there are these legal battles. Like there can be times where a father passes away, and this is like the daughter's married to this guy and he is the father of her children, and her and the mother don't get along because the mom is a narcissist, and mom has all this access and resources and intelligence and is threatening to take the grandchildren or stuff like that. Now granted, there are laws, like there are grandparents protection rights and stuff like that, but there's also loopholes in those laws. But this person is not going to tell you all the loopholes. They're just going to threaten you and, you know, pretty much bombard you until you give in to what they want. There's usually not any basis to it. Sometimes there might be. I have seen people file actual legal claims, maybe even like almost file them, and it just, they got enough information to make it look like to the person that they filed it. I've seen all those different types of things happen. So just know that narcissists are bullies and they will not stop. They will bombard you until you do what they want you to, or until you do what they want you to do. Yeah. And they might use intelligence in order to do that. So either way, we just finished doing this. Our next step is to do our powder blush. So like I told you, for every cream step we have a powder step. My lips are so dry, y'all. So I gotta lick them. But anyway, so we have powder blush. This is the L'Oreal Paris Infallible 24-hour fresh wear blush. Literally same thing you do with all your powders. You don't dab this too generously though, okay? So you're gonna dab it a little bit, tap it, and then you just, all you're doing, because you have added some product that might change the pigmentation of the blush that you previously did, you're just trying to get that color back. So you want to make sure you don't add too much to it. Okay. That look good. That look good for me, you know, because like I said, I'm not trying to be out here looking like no porcelain doll or nothing. Okay. Even though, so fun fact, in college, my nickname was Dolly, because people asked me what my name was, and I said Dylesia, and then it was just like Dolly, and I just said, okay, sure. Hate that nickname though. Definitely tell people to stop calling me that when they do it now. And I know whoever calls me that knows me from college. So next thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna get another, what else do we have left? Oh, we only got like one more step left. So I want to make sure I get these tactics out to y'all and end this video out. We got two more tactics. They both are funny little words. One of them is a Latin word. So last tactic is going to be ad hominem. Ad hominem. So with that tactic, it's crazy to think there are actual words for this, the things that these people do. But anyway, for ad hominem, what they are doing is essentially when y'all are talking and you're trying to get them to be held accountable, they're just using name calling and character attacks and just questioning your intelligence and all that kind of stuff in order to get you to react. So they want you to stop accusing them, even if the accusation is something that they actually did. They are trying to get you to stop by you throwing all these darts your way. So that's pretty much what ad hominem is just a distraction by insulting you. Okay. The last tactic is called tu quo que. Like I said, that is a Latin word, tu quo que. All it means is you too. So, like I said previously, when I was talking about, what was I talking about? I was talking about defensive victimhood, and I told y'all the story about how my mom, who is not a narcissist, would say, "Oh, you're a bad daughter too." When I would say things that made her feel like I was accusing her of being a bad mom, it's like, you're bad too. That's exactly what tu quo que means. You too. Like, okay, you calling me on my stuff, you saying that I'm all this and all that. Well, you're not perfect yourself. It's another way to avoid accountability. They're still not acknowledging that they did anything. They're just trying to redirect the attention and focus onto you. So, tu quo que. I'm going to end this video. Make sure that you watch my next video so that you can learn some strategies to use. I'm going to teach 5 strategies to use when you're interacting with your narcissistic mom, mother-in-law, or mother figure. I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.